All right, let's start getting into it. We can, I'll go back and forth between a completed garden and a new garden and um, answer questions, show stuff off, show the code, and probably, maybe in 15, 20 minutes, answer any questions about what comes next, what we're going to develop, what we're going to do, because we've got a lot that's coming. Let's start new because this is one of my favorite parts. Um, it was only in the last few weeks that we added Mother to the game. And so when you start the game, the idea is you're in this garden under the dome, been assigned this area. And Mother is an AI robot. Um, she's the embodiment of this sort of like Mother Nature AI. She, her, her name is actually the Multiverse Overseer for Transforming Habitats and Ecosystem Repair, which the acronym, of course, is Mother. And why is this multiverse overseer? What does that actually mean? It means those are the right number of words to spell mother. And it loosely ties to what the game is and what the game is doing. But she's here and she'll pop in and out at various times in the game to give you some of the sort of the starting quests that we call journey milestones. And later on, sort of post alpha, when you start getting later into the game, she might also come in and like give you hints or show you things or point out something that happens. So that's what she's for. But she just pops in and out when she's needed, isn't always around. But also the messaging system on the lower right is ostensibly from her, and the things that we'll read in the console are from her as well. So she's a fun character. She's sort of like the brains behind this whole operation. And so here's, she just says some stuff. We're going to kind of fix this text up and maybe even make little animations to explain what to do. But she tells you what to do to get started. In the upper left there, you can see the first journey milestone. That is sort of a quest just to get you started. The purpose of the game, just gameplay wise, is to collect all the animals. You just want to collect all the animals. There's a base set of 9 animals that are part of the game, and then each of those animals has multiverse variants. So this game was inspired by Viva Pinata. And Viva Pinata, the puzzle is trying to figure out what you need to do to get each next animal. And that's the trick. All the basic animals are pretty straightforward. In fact, the instructions on how to get them, what their requirements are to have them visit your garden, what the requirements are to make them resident, is all explained in the garden console. You can look them up and you can sort of get the notes on each one of them. What's not explained, and will be more of a mystery, is the special variants. Do you want the cosmic deer that glows and has sparkling stars in its skin? Well, if you want that, you're going to figure it out. And I'm sure there will end up being like wiki sites we are thinking about, and we'll probably put in some vague hints into the game itself, maybe some things that you can discover. But that's sort of the core of the game. In order to get there, though, in order to get the requirements, like the first requirement is to try to get the bees to come visit your garden, you got to clean things up a little bit, and you got to fix up the ground, and you got to plant some plants, some basic ground cover. Something else I should mention is, of course, the goat. You see the goat there? The goat's a mystery. So by lore-wise, the goat is just there. Right now, the goat doesn't do too much, but it does a little bit of stuff. Like, let's see, it does that. I still laugh every single time that happens. So behind the scenes, I have this set of like a little script that governs what the goat does, and there's a sort of the dice rolls that decide what the goat's going to decide to do at that moment, and it'll do more and more things in the future. It'll even help you out a little bit around the garden, but there is a step in the middle of the script called mayhem, and right now the only key mayhem that the goat enacts is headbutting you. The force at which it headbutts you is variable. That's something my team insisted on. It just used to do this little bump. They're like, it could be a little bit harder than that, right? So in our one dev session, we we cranked it up to 100 times, and the robot went like flying across the garden. So not that much, but yeah, the goats just sort of a little fun mystery. Two things that are happening around the garden. You got this rubble. So if you walk up to the rubble and you hold R, it dissolves the rubble. Got this little dissolve animation. Pretty proud of that. I like that little animation. And you got these weeds. The weeds respawn over time. They keep coming back. The more complete your garden is, the fewer and fewer weeds that will spawn. But each time you clean up one of these rubble piles to start, or one of the weeds to start, you get, in the upper right, you can sort of see up there, counting up, you get ecobits. So ecobits represent two things in the game. They represent information, data, and they also act as a currency to buy things. Because the cost to like plant seeds and to make treats all have little costs associated with them. But we've got this few different ways that you'll be gathering ecobits, that currency, to make it all come together, to make it work. So I'll finish this here in just a second, but we're in the center of what's called the Oak Forest. So the Oak Forest is this first dome that we're in. Sort of look up and around. There's this dome. It's got a really cool animation that Tyler made. That's pulsing down the dome. You're constrained under this area because the core of the game is really just to sort of get the animals, to get them come to visit this area. It's not an exploration game. So you're kind of constrained to the dome. In fact, in the first garden, where we are now, you're even constrained to just this center area within the rocks. If you look past the rocks, you look down over the edge, there's more garden down there, and you'll be able to get to that area. But there's only the two zones, the center zone and the outer zone, for the Oak Forest. By the end of this, I'll show you the Alpine Forest, and that actually has 4 zones. You have to do a little bit more to unlock each of those. And we'll have more and more complex gardens and more zones in the future. And then in the center here, we've got the portal. So the portal doesn't do a lot right now, but it will do more over time as well. It'll be a way for you to bring animals you've already unlocked and collected. It'll be a way for you to sort of like make copies of them and get sort of like you're inviting them in from the multiverse, or you're producing them out of the multiverse. It'll be a way for you to send animals away to go live elsewhere. Like if you want to get rid of some resident animals out of your garden, it'll do those kinds of things. And it's the key way for you to travel to other gardens. So that's the portal. And then there's right now 4 consoles, which are these little machines around the outside. The consoles are your interface to do other bits of work. So the garden console is sort of the summary of what's going on. And this page is going to end up in the future showing you an overview of what's going on in the garden. The travel page tells you where you can go to next and what you got to do to unlock it. This is the journey milestone, find a way, because life finds a way. I could laugh at my own jokes all the time. That's just something I do. So each of these milestones, as you unlock them, each of the gardens that you'll be able to travel to will have a future, a sort of growing and bigger and further and further milestones. And then there's the tabs that show the plants you can plant. So these are just the basic plants for the Oak Forest. It's pretty simple. It's not really a farming game, but it's the ecosystem plants that you'll sort of be planting out to replant the Oak Forest. And then the animals. So these are the animals of the Oak Forest. There's one more that will be added. Tyler's got it ready to be animated. It's the great horned owl. But they sort of go roughly in an order and have that, again, that progression to unlock them. So your job is to unlock them. So if we look at this first one, the bee here, it says you need at least 5 patches of ground cover have to have been planted. And then to make it a resident is separate. So let's just get it to visit. To make it a resident, you want to get its affection to 100%. Pretty simple. We'll see that in just a second, what the affection is. Other bigger animals might have much bigger requirements. The bear, for example, needs the deer to be fully researched. It needs 10 oak trees. It needs a honey jar in the garden, and it needs at least to eat at least 5 of their favorite treats. So you got to do a lot to get a bear. And to get the bear, you have to get the deer. And to get the deer, you have to get, what do you got to get to? Forgot to get the deer. You have to get raccoons. So it all like builds on each other with the basic animals. So that's all part of it too. And then the last tab here is the journey milestones. This is sort of like the missions, the quests. You can pick which one you're going to track. Mother opens some up and just shows you them as you go along, and will lead you to a few of the basic ones. And then she, after about the first 4, she turns you loose. And you can track what you want to track. You can track ones you've already completed. And then when you complete one, you can also come back and claim the reward. The reward might be a set of treats that you can then use for special animals. It might be a bunch of eco bits, a big stack, 2,000 of them. I think the last one you get like, 4,000. Because you need a bunch of those eco bits. So there's a way to get them. A couple other consoles. The drone console isn't active now. That's a feature that will be coming in the next update before by beta. Drones are little advanced buddies that will follow you around, and you'll be able to have one out that will help you do things in the garden. And we'll talk about that later. The treat console. The treat console, you can collect ingredients. A couple basic treats don't need any ingredients. They just need eco bits. And you can make a treat, and the treats help get the animals collected and make them resident in your garden in various ways as well. And then the last thing, you're going to headbutt me. There you go, goat. The last bit is the cosmetics console. Decos and cosmetics. This is all in-game stuff, all earnable in-game. There'll be different ways to earn these things in-game. Some of them will just be open. You'll just be able to pay eco bits to place it. You can open up the backpack wheel and place them anytime. Some of them you might have to unlock through an achievement. Some of them you might have to discover. We're planning this little sort of like treasure chest type system, and you might be collecting blueprint pages for them. But that all remains to be seen. But we've got these cool little decos. Some of them are functional as well, like the honey jar. The honey jar actually produces honey over time, which is an ingredient. Finally, we've got the cosmetics tab. Now, cosmetics tab is relatively new for us as well. You can pick your color of your base. You can pick your color of your helmet. There'll be fancier and fancier versions of this in the future, where you'll potentially have a holiday specific costume. Or if you complete the oak forest, maybe you'll have like a oak. It's like you're all covered in oak leaves. You look like Groot kind of costume. This is my little favorite sort of a demo. I don't know if we'll keep it in the game, but I like cosmetics that are on fire. So the flaming fire hat is what I dress my my robot up as. Again, things that I like. So yeah, let's finish off our last bit of rubble here, and this should make Mother show back up and say, "Hey, what's up?" Is that the goat coming back in? The goat's gonna have to leave. Now, in theory, the mother doesn't believe in the goat. She insists that there are no goats in this ecosystem. You shouldn't worry about goats. You don't need to be dealing with goats. Your sensors must be off. So if you just watch over time, the goat always kind of like leaves the garden when Mother's about to show up. All right, so Mother says, "Good job. You did your thing. Here's the next thing you need to do." It tells you about ecobits, and you need to fix up the ground. All right, so let's fix up the ground. Hit B, open our backpack. We've got these different things that we can plant now. I've got 550 ecobits. That's enough for a little bit of mushrooms and ground cover. I'm going to clear out just a couple more bits of weeds, get them out of my way. Another backpack, and let's do some mushrooms. So the big telegraph on the ground, the big area, shows you where the mushroom is going to affect, the area it's going to affect. And when you plant it, it drops it on the ground, and the soil ends up starting to grow out from that area. And you can see, we're pretty proud of this effect as well. You can watch it sort of expand out over time and heal the ground. So now it's taking this dry, cracked ground and it's turning it into this fertile, rich soil so that we can plant more things on it. Now we only have one other thing unlocked to plant right now, and that's oak forest ground cover. Akiligan, you want me to... you haven't heard about this, Akiligan? Yes, so this is our studio. Got about 6 of us full-time, a couple people not full-time. 6 of us working on it that are part of the team all the time. Everybody's kind of working half-time, but we're going to be working for about a year. So yes, this is the game, Garden and a Goat. Just sort of doing a little bit of a demo, and then we're doing some Q&A. I'm going to talk about what's coming next, what we still have to develop. But the basis of the game is a sort of an animal collecting game, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to get a couple of our basic requirements down right now to get the first animal to visit the garden. And what did we say we needed from the console? We needed about 5 bits of ground cover, at least 5 planted. So there's 3, 4, 5. Yay! Now we just finished another milestone. Mother's going to show back up and say, good job. You did it. And explain what comes next. You know, I already see a bee off there in the distance. Good job. Go get a bee. That's basically what she says there. It's a lot of text. I think we're going to have less text. It's going to be more bullet points and just a couple big bolded words and some pictures. I'm going to try to reduce that amount of text, but... Ooh, we got 2 bees. So the bees are starting to visit. So these are wild bees. I've got a button here, which is called Robot Vision. So you look in the lower left there. It's got a few of the different general purpose abilities that we can use to do what we need to do. Backpack. And then Robot Vision just shows us this sort of scan view that gives us a view of what's around in the garden. Right now I see 3 bees because you can see their little icons in the distance. And I see some mushrooms that have their eco-bits full. Let's go start petting a bee just so that we can start to get its affection. In fact, we can get a bee to become a resident. Come here, bee. Don't go away. So we only have 1 petting animation in the game right now. Petting animals gives a little bit of affection. Feeding them a treat gives them a lot of affection. But right now, when you're first starting out, bees are pretty easy. You only have to pet it about 4 times. Its heart fills up. That's the only requirement it needs. And now I can press the E button. And boom. It is now a resident. So the visiting bees can come and go. The wild bees. But the resident bees will, or your resident animals will always stick around. All right, Mother, here's the achievement. You like jazz because we got a bee. Do research. That's what she wants us to do, right? Yeah, for the science. Yeah, science. Research mushrooms to 100 and research bees to 250. So now we would probably be best served by getting a few bees and not just 1. So maybe I'll get another couple bees here. That bee is leaving. Let's get this bee. Because it takes a while for the eco-bits to charge up, to sort of refresh on an animal or a plant. And you need the eco-bits to be full before you can use the scan ability to pull them off of the plant, get that research, and both give you credit for researching the plant or animal, and give you the eco-bit credits. So if we go back here to the mushrooms, I'll show you. We'll do a little scan on the mushrooms. And we need to get that research on mushrooms up to 100. But these eco-bits that we're going to pull off of it, you can see up there at the top. Very small number of eco-bits. Thank you, Goat. Very small number of eco-bits, but they recharge really fast on the mushrooms. It all kind of like escalates. The bigger, like trees give you a lot of eco-bits. Bears give you a ton of eco-bits. But the first few little things, not a lot. But you need to do it anyway because we still want to get them up to 100%. So do a couple more mushrooms. I'm going to plant a little bit more ground cover while I'm here because that's going to help for some other things as well. Boy, you're in a head button mood today, aren't you, little guy? The goat is a multi-dimensional. You know how in Guardians of the Galaxy, how the cats weren't really cats? That's kind of how the goat is. Is it a goat or is it some multi-dimensional creature of some kind? We don't know. It's a mystery. The demo is not on Steam, but there is an alpha going on right now. If you'd like to be part of the alpha, you can go to our Discord, gardenintogoat.com/Discord. You can join our Discord, ask in there. We've got a few keys left. And the alpha, we're going to start gathering feedback because we've had it running for about a week and a half now. Start gathering feedback now. We're going to probably close feedback in about a week, but it'll be up for a while. So if people would like keys, let me know. Where's my, let's get one more bee. Come here, bee. Thank you, Will. Will is our community manager, our marketing lead, our testing, our QA director. A lot of things that Will is there.
Hello. I don't know if I could be heard on stream, but
Yep.
I am here in the call.
Hello, Will. Part of the point of the game also is just casual fun time. There's no combat. You're not going to miss anything or lose anything if you're not paying attention. I expect, and this is kind of how I've been playing it, is it's a fun kind of like little idle activity too. I mean, I could just like go around here and clean up my garden a little bit, plant some more mushrooms, wait for the bees to recharge. Here, let's scan this bee. Get my research going on the bees. Gonna fix up that scan animation so it points at the animal a little bit better in the future. That one's charging up. Where's my other? Oh, there. That bee is full. But in between, while you're waiting for the eco bits to recharge, you could be pulling, putting down more mushrooms, fixing up the ground. Oh, you know what? We did finish up a couple milestones, didn't we? So let's go back to the console and get our prizes. We've got 3 of them that have rewards. So 1,500 ecobits for that. Sweet. 1,500 ecobits for this one. I wanted some baseline ecobits for you to get just to start. And then 3 blueberry treats. You know, pretty soon. I'm going to make a couple, but let's finish the research first so we can show kind of things in order. I don't get ahead of myself. I know what comes next. And you can do stuff out of order. Like you could start making treats now, and that's going to be one of the next milestones. But I would rather just get a couple things, continue to get fixed up here. And we'll sort of do it in order. And I'll go through this maybe for about another, 10 minutes. Just get through this milestone, and I'll switch over to a much more complete garden, and you can take a look then. At what that looks like. What do we got? You got any more bees that are charged? Oh, there's a bee. And the mushrooms. Grab that on the way. See, when we're talking thousands of ecobits, 10 for a mushroom is not very much. But they're not intended to be. We may balance it a little bit more, maybe make them a little bit more. Somebody suggested just like eventually just shutting off the mushrooms because they're kind of worthless once you're starting to get 100 ecobits off of something else to waste your time with the 10 ecobits off a mushroom. But to start out, that's kind of part of the progression. Everything starts slow. Hello, Stask. There we go, headbutt. Boom. And boom, we're done with mushrooms. Now we can still keep scanning them to get more and more ecobits. In fact, see, I could just go back to the beginning, but like by the time I finished this line of mushrooms, they would probably be recharged. And I'll just get 10 ecobits every time, and I could keep going around. But that is not what I need to do right now. I need to keep going with the bees. In fact, maybe I should get a 4th bee. What do you guys think? You think I need 4 bees? I do wonder if there will be people who kind of like end up min-maxing Oh, that bee is leaving. The wild animals do leave over time too, because right now there's a limit on the number of wild animals, just so the garden doesn't get extremely overcrowded. So they do wander off and leave so that other wild animals can spawn in. There's a little bit of a priority system. If there's a brand new animal that should be spawning, something you've never seen before, it'll show up and you'll sort of see that animal more quickly because some of the existing animals will leave, things like that. We got one more bee here, so because we are only halfway done with our research on the bees. One change I wanted to make, we didn't get to it for Alpha 2, was you won't have to scan the bees to 100%. For like this kind of milestone, you only have to go to 50%. And then to sort of do the unlocks and the progression. The 100% will be if you want sort of for the completionists that want to get like all things to 100%. That'll be a thing. All right. Well, we're waiting for some bees to recharge here. Let me clean up a little bit more rubble. And while I'm doing that, if you notice here, this is what's called barriers. We just call them barriers. And there'll be various different kinds of barriers in the game. There's a milestone which allows you to unlock the barriers. So you can learn about that from Mother shortly. I think after the next milestone, I think after we get the squirrels, we'll be able to unlock the barriers. And then that opens up more of the space for us. Opens up the ability for us to get down below and start to get to the outside. Some of the bigger animals won't spawn up here. They won't come through the barriers. Well, they can. They can walk through the barriers anytime they want, but they won't start at the barriers like the bees and the squirrels and the smaller animals do. They'll be wandering in from outside the dome, and they'll wander in and out that way. All right, how are we doing on my bees? What's up, bee? Here, I'll show you something cool. Go up to this bee and say hello with the Q button, which is the check details. The bee's trying to headbutt the goat's trying to headbutt the bee. It gives you a little detail window tells you a little bit about the bee. It might tell you some things that you need to know about it, like how much research is done. It might give you a little bit more of a hint about a variant. Maybe you've unlocked something. It also gives you the ability to give it a nickname. Barry B. Benson, of course. And now there's Barry B. Benson.
Definitely one of my favorite features.
Yeah.
I think the nicknames really adds a lot to the personality.
It does a couple things for us too. Hello, Seema. Another one of our Alpha 1 testers. And so was Smashing Pinatas, I believe, was an Alpha 1 tester.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, the nicknames are, we put them in there for a couple reasons, and we're going to play with this and tweak things as we go. But the nicknames are also intended to mark animals for you to be able to like say, hey, I'm working on this animal. I'm going to, like, maybe it's something that takes a while for it to become resident. You need to like feed it a whole bunch of treats and you're still making some treats and you don't want to like lose that where that animal is. There'll be a couple features. There'll be a drone that helps you keep track of them and maybe even like gets that animal to follow you around, kind of a leash drone. But just putting a name on it and then being able to hit your robot vision and spin around and say, oh, there's Barry. There's Barry over there. And now I can know where Barry is. Well, that was one of the intended purposes of the nicknames. Let's
Do you
see.
have a favorite nickname you've given an animal? Barry is pretty good.
Yes, I do. There's a secret nickname for the goat. That
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
yes, the goat has a secret nickname, and maybe I won't say it out loud because it's we only have like a dozen people here. So the goat's name is in my lore, in my head, the goat's name is Steven. I don't know why. His name is Steven.
I have some files where I called him Steven too.
Yeah, we talked about it way early in development. There's a couple. I play tons and tons of games, and I play games with friends, and there was a couple other games. There was a game we played, which doesn't exist anymore. It was a game called Coreborn, and I really liked it. It was sort of like a group survival, building, adventure, exploration game. But there was these goat creatures, kind of more like the ibex that we're going to have in the next garden. But there was these goat creatures in that game, and for some reason, they were just wild animals. You were supposed to like hunt them and stuff for resources, but there was one of the goats like spawned in our base, and I said, "Oh, don't kill that goat. That goat is Steven, and he lives here permanently now." So I don't know. It just happened. We just ended up naming it Steven, and it lived with us until it accidentally got killed because there was an invasion or something, and then we went and trapped another one and called that one Steven. I love naming animals and real life pets. I like just like
Those names.
person names.
Yeah.
Like this is my dog Bob. I think that's great. So if you watch when I name any of my animals, I name like this bear. Her name is Rebecca. Hello, mother. Yes, we finished science. Now she says, "All right. Now next thing you got to do is you got to learn to make treats." So tells you what to do. And since I was elected to lead, not to read, I will just skip mother's speech, go over to the treat console where I already know how to do it, of course, because I designed it. And we'll make some treats. So there's basic treats that only cost ecobits to make. And there's advanced treats that take crops to make. And you have to harvest those crops. So we've got blue fruit snacks and red meat jerky snacks. These take raspberries, these take blueberries, and then the honey treats should take honey, but we didn't want to have to make people deal with honey in the alpha, so we didn't make them use honey yet. But as you can imagine, if we add more treats over time, they might take more and more complex ingredients. Let's just make a whole stack of basic herb treats because I know we've got somebody on the way, which we should have here pretty soon. We got any squirrels yet? What do we got to do to get a squirrel? We've got all our bees. Where did I? Oh, I know what I need to do.
Need some more plants.
I need some plants, don't I? Yes. And at least one lily planted. So now I have also planted enough things to unlock the lily. We will make it a little more apparent that when something unlocks, because it's sort of stealth unlocks right now. Hey, lilies, and next holly is going to unlock, and it just sort of stealth unlocks. And if you aren't paying attention or you don't remember or know to go look in your backpack, you might not realize that. But we'll fix that up. I like this little hologram effect. So it's blue when it's ready to go, and you can see it kind of pulses a little bit. It's red if you're trying to plant it in a place where you can't plant it because the ground is not fertile yet. So we can plant a couple lilies. Let's plant some nice lilies here. I like to spread my plants out in like ever expanding rings. Want to do too many because look, they're clicking away 200 ecobits per plant. Let's get 5. Do we need 5 for the next thing? I think we just might need research on them, but 5's a good number. Got 42 seconds left on the treat console. You can see that it's chugging along there, and you can see it bubbling on top. Counter's counting down. When it's done, it'll ring. Hello, Barry. Let's scan you, get some ecobits off of you. It's not very many, but what do we got? 25? 25 off the bee? That's not bad. I'm feeling. Oh, here it goes. Almost done. Every day it's bubbling. Our sound is a little out of sync. There's like a little countdown chime that should have. There we go. There's the chime. And there's that little box. I love that box. To me, it looks like a Tiffany's box. It's also in the shape of one of our little treats. If you pick it up, oops. Wrong console. Get out of the way, bee. There. Now, if I look in my backpack, I have 5 herb treats and 3 fruit snacks. The 5 herb treats are the ones I just made and picked up. And I've got enough to plant we'll wait again. See, getting ahead of myself. I was going to do some decorations because I'm feeling saucy. I got 2,000 ecobits burning a hole in my pocket. Oh, and all I need to do was plant a lily, and look at what we got over here. Oh, and he's running away already. He's leaving. If you get to an animal before it leaves and wave at it or pet it or feed it a treat, it will not. It'll stop leaving. But there's more. They're always spawning. The wild animals are always coming back. What are we going to do? Let's ask it. They want a treat and they want bees. Give them a treat to make it a residence. That's what it's saying over here. I'm only going to give it 1 treat because I don't want to waste all my treats. All right, goat. I cranked up the headbutting on the goat a little bit just so that there would be enough of it in the alpha, but it'll be cranked back a little bit. It does annoy some people. Maybe there'll be an unlock or a technique of some kind to make it so you won't get headbutted by the goat as much. I like it myself, but that's just me. All right, some other says, good job, you got some squirrels. Now what you need to do is you're gonna need to, things are getting interesting. Time for more animals. Did you hear her little chat, her little talk? Our sound director, Keith, he did this really cool thing where he invented a bunch of phonemes, sort of like the little bits of speech. So anytime she says something, a different number, we just sort of like say how many syllables you want it to be, a different number of those syllables randomly play together into automatic speech by Mother, which I think is really, really cool. So what's she saying now? Good job. Do the nicknames. She's saying there's no goats here. I don't see any goats. Don't know what you're talking about. But what is she saying we need to do next? Get a cardinal. Oh, harvest some blueberry bushes. All right, so let's go plant some blueberries. We're gonna need a couple more squirrels, I'm sure, as well. And we could plant some more ground cover. Boy, things are getting complicated. All right, blueberries. I'm gonna plant berries, 2 blueberry bushes right next to each other so I know where they are. Actually, I'll do 3 because I like things in 3s. 3 is a magic number. Scan the bee, and let's get another squirrel. Because we're going to need to do research on squirrels, I'm sure, to unlock some next thing as well. And where are we at? All right, let's give him a treat. See, you got to pet a lot of times. This is sort of incentive to not just pet your way to residency for all the animals. Are we unlocked on the barriers yet? No. That comes...
I believe it's cardinals, not squirrels.
Maybe it is the cardinals. But we've been going for a while. Any questions? Because I'll take you to a more advanced garden and we can wander around there a little bit and then show off some other things. Oh, I didn't show off messages. So up and down, as you're going along, you get messages about, hey, you got a squirrel's resident, congratulations, got this milestone, make sure you go get your reward. That's all showing up in the messages here, and you can flip back through those over time. Very beginning of the game, there's a lot of messages. We may tone that down just a little bit, but that's just a place for you to be tracking if you weren't paying attention when something was happening. And then how's our little, oh, look, our little blueberry bushes are sprouting. They do take a little while, and this also gets to watering. So that watering animation is going to get fixed up a little bit in the future too. Oh, hello, bee. Right now it just sprays water out of his hand, just in the general direction of the plant. But we're probably going to have him like pull a little watering can out of his backpack or something like that. Get out of the way. The more things are watered, the higher the amount of water on a plant, the faster it'll grow. So that is a benefit of watering. A little tedious to water by hand. So you can imagine, wouldn't it be cool if there's a way to get more water going, make it easier to water things? And again, that's something that we're definitely going to have a drone for, a watering drone that will follow you around and water things for you. All right, so yeah, let's take a little break and go to a more complete garden. We will exit here to main menu. I love this drawing. So Julia, our artist, did this drawing, which is super cool. And then animated it here, just a little still animation as sort of a menu cinematic. All right, I think if I go to, I think this one, slot 1, is pretty complete. It might not be. Let's see how far I got in this one. If not, there's a special demo slot for the demo garden. Nope, that is the garden we were working on. All right, so let's go to the demo garden. Oh, yeah, let's go back. Don't want to show this off yet. Getting ahead of ourselves. I say I must have saved it in the alpine forest. So we'll go back to the oak forest. We'll show the alpine forest in a minute. Very cool. I'm very happy with the alpine forest. It's just in the alpha, it's just a little peek at it. You can't even get into the animals yet, but there's a couple animals there just to show you what's up. And this garden is advanced enough that you can now take down the barriers. You can see one barrier over there is already taken down. There's a holly bush. There's a cardinal. It's a resident cardinal. There's a few oak trees already around. Let's go knock down this barrier. We can wander around in the lower area. And the last thing you need to do in this garden is to get the bear. And that's kind of like the end of the alpha. Oh, there's a turtle. I think I even have a couple turtles that are resident. Start to see a lot of icons in the middle there. That's all the mushrooms, and the lilies and stuff in the middle of the garden. We've got some plans on how to sort of tame that a bit as well, because you don't really need to know where every mushroom is. Got little turtles. Oh, decorations. That's what I wanted to show off too. So here's a tiki torch. You can unlock some of the decorations. Here's a fountain. The fountain is not only decorative and fun, but necessary if you would like to have cardinals, for example, or owls. If you want birds, you kind of need the fountain because they're attracted by the bird bath. There's the holly bush. You can have a bunch of holly. And there's the oak trees. Ooh, there's a fox. Fox was visiting. There's a cardinal over there named Beth. Hello, Beth. There's a squirrel. I'll go say hi to Beth. Oh, there's a fox leaving. I wonder if I can... Nah, we'll get another fox. He's already gone. Hello, Beth. Oh, I see Emmy in the voice chat here. Hello, Emmy. Emmy is another one of our developers who did... So, like, watch this. When I walk away from the cardinal, it'll start flying. She did a bunch of the animation and behavior work on the animals. And when I get up close to it, it'll land on the ground so that I can, like, pet it. So Emmy is one of our developers, done a bunch of the work, the development work on the game as well. So she and I have been teamed up. And then one other developer, Will, who only works with us a couple hours a week. He's works for another studio and sort of does a little bit of stuff on the side, does his own game dev on the side. Hello, Fox. Come here. Will did some of the foundational setup for the project because he's been working games for quite a while, longer than I have. What's our requirements here? 5 cardinals, and give the fox 2 treats, and finish the research on the cardinals. So I think we are done with the research, but I do not think Yes, the other Will. Will T, not Will S. There's only 6 of us on the team. All right, we need a name for the fox. Carl. Hello, Carl. We need one more cardinal, though, don't we? So here's a trick. How many cardinals do we have? I see 1, 2, 3. I see only 3 resident cardinals. I see a wild cardinal over there. All right, so that... Oh, okay. So let's go to the Alpine Forest. You could watch me wander around and get cardinals. Which I guess is good, but I like playing this game, so that's what I've been doing. Let's go take a look at the Alpine Forest, though. So here we will teleport. We've got it unlocked. We had achieved the milestone. Allows us to teleport to this next garden. We hope to launch into, definitely by release, to have at least 3 gardens. And then we'd like more gardens over time. The 2 animals that you can, actually 3, that you can check out in the Alpine Forest in Alpha 2 is the pika, the Alpine Blue Moth, and so let's say hi to the pika. There's the pika. Pikas are amazing little animals. If you've never heard of them, look them up. They're an alpine, sort of like a little bunny class animal, and they're awesome. And here is the apex, one of the apex animals of the Alpine Forest, the snow leopard. Here, watch this animation. I love that animation. So that is great. So that animation. All right, Tyler. There's a BBC video where they did a lot of high-res filming to track these snow leopards, which are very elusive. They're kind of endangered. There are not many of them out in the wild. But they tracked some of the snow leopards, and they caught a snow leopard doing that move on video, on the BBC video. And we just liked it so much. I told our animator, Tyler does most of our animations, but we have a second animator, a friend of Tyler's that helps up sometimes. I showed him that video and I said, we need that in the game. So whatever you do, just make sure we get that. Which I like. And we've got rhododendrons. That's a rhododendron there. We've got the flower is the Edelweiss. That is our Edelweiss. All right, go do your job. Good job. We've got the alpine fir trees. You can see spread around there and up on the cliffs. We've got these snowy little snowbanks around. And I don't know if you can see well on the stream, but if you look close, see how they sparkle? See the sparkling on the snow? Tyler did a little bit of material magic there. We've got a little more to tune up, but on the snow caps and on the snowbanks in the ground, we're going to have more sort of snow placed around the upper edges. But this is what I was talking about in the Alpine Forest, how there's different zones. There's actually 4 zones. So you'll start down in the center zone, and you'll need to do a little bit of work to unlock and break down the barriers to get to the second zone. And then there's the third zone, which is sort of intermediate. And then way up top there, you can sort of look up the tiers. There's the top zone up there, which will be the 4th zone. And that's where the snow leopards, for example, will spawn. So they won't spawn down here to start. But I like this. At first, we just had the very flat open areas. I like this idea of the zones, and then it's another little bit step of progression. And we're going to have these rock terraces that you'll go up here, be able to unlock. I just painted in and turned on all of the ground cover. But this will all start again also as sort of just that broken down, dead, cracked ground, and you'll have to fix it up with mushrooms and then plant ground cover, and then you'll be able to plant the trees. I don't think we have any of the plants unlocked here. And just the alpine ground cover and the mushroom. Alpine mushroom is a little bit different than the oak forest mushroom. Here you can see some of the snow caps. It's just a little bit of extra snow around the alpine mountainous area. And then we'll go all the way up to the top and we'll take a stop there and see if anyone else has any questions. Did any questions come up in the, it doesn't look like it. Any come up in the Discord text channel? I don't think so. Let me click over there for a sec, make sure.
I don't see any.
No, we're good. Okay. Cool. Cool. I don't even know if this works. Does this work? Apparently it does. Oh, not completely. Mostly. Rhododendron. And then outside the dome is not complete yet either. So you're kind of intended to be a little bit up on a mountain peak. Here for the Alpine Forest, you'll be able to see some mountains off in the distance, and you see that lower cloud, the area of cloud banks. Those will be a little bit more pronounced and thicker and up to the edge of your mountain peak here where we are. I don't know if you can also hear, but the ambient sound, there's the whooshing of the mountain air going on here. A little directional ambient sound for each of the gardens that's different. Keith, our sound director, has custom created all of the sounds of all of the animals, the robot, footsteps. We have hundreds and hundreds of sounds. He composed the theme music. There's sort of two arrangements. One is the main music theme, which I think I have turned off right now, just so we could play. But then you heard it on the variation on it on the menu screen as well. So cool. This is Garden and a Goat. Before I talk a little bit about the future and maybe like dig around in the game files a bit, if anyone wants to see any of that, are there any questions in Twitch chat? Just ask, does he like jazz? That is the name of the milestone of the achievement. So some of those achievements will end up as Steam achievements also. So which ones do we have right now? We have Weed It and Reap.
My favorite one.
We have Ground Control. We have You Like Jazz with a B, getting some B's. We have Yeah Science. We have Second Breakfast when you're making treats. We have Berry Nice when you have to need to plant the berry bushes. We have They Are Real when you need to get some cardinals, get your birds unlocked. We have Find a Way to both find a way through the barriers, and it's a play on Life Finds a Way. Blew It Up, once you transform a bee into a bee variant. Should we do this? You want to do it? Should we go get a bee variant?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. So multiverse variants. So this is the first one that's in the game, and every animal will have typically one or two. Where's my bees? They're all off wandering around. There's one. I'll give it a name. Do I have? Let's make sure I've got treats. No, I am out of treats. You know what? I'm gonna cheat. Don't look. Nobody look. Nobody look. That's a little developer trick. So this is the very first simplest form of a variant, and the basic variants will be pretty simple. The advanced variants will be, we'll get to things like, as I've said before, I like when things are on fire. So maybe we'll have like a flaming bee, and maybe you have to do something special, like bring it over to a torch and show it the torch and then turn it into a flaming bee. But right now, if you feed a bunch of blueberry treats, see I'm holding the treat there, gonna fix that animation up a little bit, but just start feeding a bunch of blueberry treats to the bee. It goes, oh my gosh, you have sparked a variant transformation. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Boom. And now we have a blue bee. That's the first. It's relatively simple. Just the blue bee variant. They'll be like, yes, handy girl. Do you want your suit? Do you want the whole flaming outfit? I do. So.
The lava backpack.
Yes. That would be great. Oops. Hello, bee. So that's our little blue bee, our first variant of the game. But yeah, there'll be a lot of variants. We've got 9 animals. There'll probably be like 18 variants. Just for the oak forest. And then obviously we've got the other forests coming. All right. You could turn your outfit red at least. Oh, look at these little, these Toro lanterns. I actually visited Japan this summer for the first time ever. And these little stone lanterns all over the place, just like this, are amazing. And this one Julia designed, and Julia and Tyler worked on the textures for it. I really like it. We're gonna have a bunch of decorations. In fact, we've got some designs that are in progress right now, so you'll be able to decorate quite a bit. It's all about the animals, but there'll be reasons to decorate. Like here's the honey jar. You can see it's filling up with honey in there. Went to Tokyo and Kyoto, handy girl. And it was amazing. It was the most interesting place that I had ever, or the most different place that I had ever been. I've been to Europe. I've been to a few countries in Europe. I love going to England. That's amazing. I've been to, Mexico and Canada, France and Belgium and Germany. Yeah, Tokyo and Kyoto were crazy. Let's get some blueberries. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to change my costume. I was saying you can make yourself, it's not on fire, but you can at least make your outfit red, and then you can turn the helmet on fire. I only put one other backpack in for now, which is sort of like the brown leather backpack. Just changed the color of it. We didn't do a lot extra for the Alpha 2. We needed to get it out the door. I know, but that's kind of why I like England, handy girl. It's like, it's so easy. It's just like being in just like a fancy, more historical American city. They probably don't appreciate me saying that, but it is very comfortable to go there. It's, there's no language barrier. Obviously, there's barely. I mean, the money's pretty close, and how everything works is all very, very similar to how you operate in the U.S., which it is not in Japan. I had to learn how to, even saying thank you, and I want to be polite and do things properly and things like that. So there's a lot I needed to learn before I went to Japan. Arigato gozaimasu, to keep saying that all the time. 8 syllables to say thank you, and everybody says it every single time for everything. It's the way to be polite. Whereas in England, you do whatever you want. Hello, governor. That's what I say. And then they look at me weird and go, what are you doing? In a posh accent, not in a Cockney accent. All right, I don't know. I'm just playing the game now. I don't know what I'm doing here. Jetpack win. A couple people. So if anybody wants the alpha key, as I said, we've got a few alpha keys left. In fact, I should check how many, because I even could get a couple more. But we're going to close that down relatively soon. Probably stop giving out keys by the end of the week, and then let the alpha run another week, and make sure by the end of this week and into next week, we're asking everybody to fill out the survey, because we've got this whole process where we look at every bit of survey survey content and every bit of feedback, and we group it and we categorize it. We use these various design techniques for looking at and determining what kind of questions the groups of feedback ask about our game. So it's not so much, it's not so much, oh, somebody said X. It's somebody said they like this. Somebody else said they didn't like this. And if you put those two things together, it kind of looks like this. And how might we do more or do better or do something different or build on that or keep it the same based on that concept? So we're going to be taking all of that feedback and doing that process over the course of the next couple days, a couple weeks. You don't have to make the whole area green to unlock the barrier. Oh, because you made the whole area green first. Yeah. Which is a lot. That is a lot. But yeah, it's intended to be. And it's intended to be like slowly over time. When I was even just doing this version of the garden. So this was one of my saves that we turned into the demo save. When I was just doing this version of the garden, I kept I'd put on a YouTube video, something fun, probably some science video. Yeah, science. And then I would just click and plant some mushrooms and plant some grass. And that's kind of just like a chill game like that is what we want this to be. So yeah, I agree. But in order to do that, you also need a lot of eco bits, don't you? We actually reduced the cost of planting the grass quite a bit from what it was. It used to cost a lot more. I think it's a little bit more reasonable now. But yeah, it is. It's quite satisfying to fill it all up. Here's little tricks. If you overlap some of the ground cover, so you could sort of see the area that it's going to cover. If you overlap it into some of the non-fertile area, it'll spread. You can only plant the grass on the fertile ground, but it'll spread into that non-fertile area, and you don't have to plant as many mushrooms that way. So you can see there the grass is growing into the edge there. Little trick, little hack, little pro tip. Because I made it.
I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah, so one of my tricks is just to go around the edge of the, just run around like this. And then when that spreads, it spreads more of the fertile ground, so I don't have to plant as many mushrooms.
I feel like I'm slowly learning the speed run strats for this game. I'm just trying to go through everything in the most efficient way possible to test stuff.
Yeah. So again, this is inspired by Viva Pinata. There's speedrunners for Viva Pinata, and you can look at videos on YouTube where they figure out the optimal method to get get whatever kind of top animal that they're looking to get as quick as possible. Yeah, there'll be a way. So we were already talking about that on our dev team, trying to think of a way to tag an animal and have it follow you. You'll definitely be able to get an animal to follow you. There might be a couple different ways to do it. One of the ideas we had is a leash drone. So you get out a drone and then you point the drone at an animal to sort of leash it, and it does a little virtual leash, and maybe you can have a couple animals that it tags and it will sort of bring those animals along with you. You might be able to do it directly with an animal as well. Maybe if you feed it a special treat that it likes, it will follow you for a while. But that's going to be important, and it's going to be useful, because there might be variant puzzles that says, well, what if you took one of your animals and you took it on a tour and you showed it a bunch of special decorations in your garden, and it got ideas based on that, and it turned into a multiverse variant as a result. Will the animals interact with each other? Yes, a little bit. That takes a lot of work, but we've already got a couple of those things that, Emmy and I have been brainstorming on. You can't get foxes to become resident in your garden until there are 5 cardinals, because foxes love cardinals. And maybe if the fox sees a cardinal, it should get all excited and want to chase it around. There's no fighting. Animals don't eat each other in this game, so we can't go that far. So it'll just chase it and be happy that there's the bird around, not eating it though. The goat does a few different random animations. It paws at the ground. It does just does a standing headbutt. You want to know some more of the inspiration for the goat. So the goat is a baby goat. My favorite YouTube channel, one of my favorite YouTube channels, period, but my favorite YouTube channel for baby goats in particular is Sunflower Farms Creamery. Every spring, so they're actually a creamery, and they have goats. In order to have goats, female goats, continue to produce milk, they have to have babies every spring. So they have this crop of babies, and you can sign up to adopt them. They all get adopted, or they go out to other farms. They don't eat any of their goats. But every spring they've got videos of their little herd of baby goats, and they are the best thing ever. So Tyler, who's in chat right now in voice, modeled. So Julia designed the art, Tyler modeled the goat, and Tyler animated it. And we did a bunch of work. Oh, did you hear the cardinal cheeping? I heard that. I gave Tyler reference videos of Sunflower Farms Creamery. And we picked out a bunch of like scenes of the actual baby goats and what they do and how they run around. And that's what the goat animations are based on.
That was one of my favorite meetings we did because I think we just hung out and watched goat videos for like an hour.
Yeah, that's a fun work meeting. A kill again. You said, Emmy saying the pikas to give each other flowers.
Wouldn't that be fun? That'd be so cute.
Yes, that would be very nice. In the wild, they steal flowers from each other, though. That's mostly what they do. They spend like half the summer creating what ends up kind of like being a hay bale in their little dens in the alpine mountainous regions. They like tuck them under, and they put a ton of material in there. So they'll spend like months gathering material. But sometimes, this is another BBC video you can look up on the pikas. Sometimes they get crafty and they'll go and steal from like their neighbor's hay bale and bring it back over to theirs. But they are the cutest things ever when they're running around with those little mountain flowers in their mouth. I completely agree. So yes, we will have to do something where they carry flowers around in their mouth. All right. Well, this game makes me happy, and I hope it makes other people happy too. That's the reason for the game, is to just be a fun, cute, fun, interesting little thing, make people happy. We're putting our hearts into it, and we hope it comes through. We've got a bunch more that we want to do. We would like to get a beta, hopefully by the end of the year, with all of the basic features in, and then work through the winter and into the spring towards probably an early access in the spring. We were thinking of even early access by the end of the year. I think we might want to give it a little bit more time, but probably hit early access in the spring, and maybe then show up in a couple places, like PAX. PAX East is a place I would love to maybe show off our game. Maybe we'll be in Steam Next Fest online and do more things like that. Hello, goat. Yeah, so maybe GDC. I hope they don't do it, but GDC's typically at the same time as PAX, but maybe. Gamescom, that would be crazy, but it would also entail a trip to Germany. If everybody on Steam buys a copy of the game, we'll have budget to go to Germany next summer. We'll take the whole team to Germany if we make that amount of money, which the odds of that for an indie game are very, very low, and we realize that, and that's all part of it. We will be happy if a handful of people are happy with the game. We will do much more with it if many, many people are happy and want more done. So that is where we're at.
Is that something we'd want to do?
What's that?
Mobile. Someone asked about mobile version in the chat.
Probably not first. Probably not in the near term, but as we get to early access and start to get more and more people like interacting with the game and asking for things like that, we'll put it on the list. Xbox is what you're asking for, Handy Girl?
Cross-platform.
Oh,
It's a
cross-platform.
single-player game.
It is single player, but we could have cloud save, cross-platform saves. I would maybe, again, we'll see what the uptake is and we'll see what the interest is. Things like, it seems like this would be a really apropos for a Switch game. It'll definitely be on the Steam Deck day one, even for early access. It'll be Steam Deck ready. It'll be controller support. Right now, the controller support is halfway in. I've got my controller here and works pretty well, but not great. I can zoom in and out. I can scan the mushroom. You can see the controls even switch on the screen. The buttons in the lower left show the right button controls, but a couple things don't work all that well yet, like the backpack in particular is a little janky. Got to get that fixed up. Do a couple other things like that. So we'll get full controller support. We will get full Steam Deck support. We've got a lot of work to do on finishing the Steam Deck support, which is partially implemented, finishing the controller support. And our options right now are in there for the alpha, just like the baseline. We just interfaced with the APIs and Unreal Engine to get them started, but they don't really work very well yet. Yeah, I would love for it to be on Switch. We will need to get it out into early access and people will need to like it, I think, before Nintendo would even let us get a dev kit to put it on Switch, because that's kind of the state that they're in right now. They're very limited on dev kits. They're not even giving very many out to very many big indie studios, let alone somebody little like us. And that's kind of the process you need to go through. Yeah, exactly. Switch to SDK and dev kits are the things that you can't get right now. Let's get some honey. I think there's, yeah, this little placeholder. But there, it sucked the honey right out of there. And now I've got, if I look on I've got 5 honey and 5 blueberries harvested that I can use as ingredients. Yes, if we wanted to do it in the near term, what I'm hoping is by early next year, they'll be loosened up a little bit. And if we've got a track record open, hopefully we'll be able to make that work. But it's also a bunch of work. So we'll have to sort of like feel it out. And again, make sure that there's an audience there that would want it. But it does seem like it would be kind of fun as a Switch game. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Some of the future features that I talked about. We'll finish off the Alpine Forest. We'll have another garden beyond that. If it takes off after release, I would love for our team to be on point to do gardens every once in a while. Like maybe quarterly or once every 6 months to release another new garden. And we'll probably have 3 fun gardens to start. But again, if it took off, I love the idea of getting a little crazy with the gardens too. Like maybe we could because we're in a multiverse, right? So maybe we could get into some fantasy land. Maybe we could have like, you go to the dragon land and it's all dragons and wyverns and stuff like that. Or you go to the fantasy and it's fairies, little fairies and orcs and whatever, elves, whatever's there. That kind of thing. Yep, it kind of works on the Steam Deck right now as well, Gail. I played it on the Steam Deck, but that's also like the backpack doesn't work completely yet. The backpack was a special feature that we implemented from a third-party library kit, and we customized it quite a bit. So it does take extra work. Oh, plushies would be cool. See, if we go to PAX... This is the problem. Well, this is a passion project. I'm afraid any of these things that we do, we'll never financially recover from it. Because if we go to PAX, I would like a life-size goat to be there, and plushies, and backdrop, big backdrop, and a bunch of places that people can play and sit down. And but where is the money for that gonna come from? But yeah, that would be great.
Starter. Even though we're already started.
Yeah. Yeah, Gail. First, let's make a game. I told my team the first day that we started, my goal is to have made a game, not to be making a game forever. There are game studios out there that are in that situation. Star Citizen, that kind of thing. I want us to have made a game. So we will get a game out. It's already getting longer than I had initially anticipated, but not longer than I thought could be the case. So we're doing pretty good, and we're pretty well on track. And yes, not release. So although we're probably going to release on the day that GTA 6 comes out, but it's a different audience. It doesn't matter. Whatever we do, GTA 6 will be moved to that day because that's my luck. Okie doke. Well, we've been going for about an hour and a half. This has been a blast. Really appreciate everybody tuning in, checking things out. As I said, if anybody needs, there's keys. I think we're pretty good. I think mostly who I see in the chat room here is usual suspects that mostly know the deal. But maybe we'll put a version of this out, maybe on one of the YouTube channels of the recording. And hope that everybody wishlists it and jumps in the Discord and stays connected. As I said, we'll have a beta, hopefully in about 3 months, and we'll have potentially even a much wider group of testers at that point, and a bunch more things to see. So I hope everyone is able to join us for that. And again, thanks a ton. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Zoom in here, and I can't. Oh, I need a key to make the robot wave. He can do that, but I don't have it keyed up. But yes, so I will duck out for now. And again, thanks everybody for coming and stopping by, and I will see you all in Discord. Later.